Good afternoon. My name is Jamie Reed. I'm the Education Manager with the Oracle Applications and Technology Users Group. I'm excited to welcome you all to the EBS Week webinar, Enhancing Oracle eBusiness Suite 12.2 with Natural Language Queries using Oracle Generative AI, Apex, and ECC. I really want to take a minute to thank Denovo for sponsoring EBS Week. These weeks could not happen without the partnerships we have with you. And we just really appreciate you and Joseph and Denovo for that partnership we have. Before we get started, I want to remind everyone to mark your calendars for Ascend 2026, happening June 8th through the 11th in Orlando, Florida at the Caribe Royale Resort. Registration for that will open shortly. Just so you know, you can post your questions in the Q&A area of Zoom, and we'll be monitoring those and answering questions at the end. To be eligible to receive CPE credit, you must be logged into the webinar for at least 50 minutes, ask a question, and complete the session survey. All EBS Week recordings and slide decks will be placed into the OATUG knowledge base within 24 hours. I want to turn it over to our presenter, Joseph Ernest, Senior Director of Oracle Applications and Technology with Denovo. Thank you so much for presenting. You can take it away.
Thank you, Jamie. Good afternoon, everyone. For some people, it's good evening. My name is Joseph Ernest. I'm going to present this presentation, Enhancing Oracle eBusiness Suite 12.2 with natural language queries using Oracle Generative AI, Apex, and ECC. I've been with Denovo for more than 14 years now. So I have a very strong database and application experience for over 30 years. And I've been in the EBS and Oracle Cloud application industry and managed services business for over 20 plus years. Just a small introduction about me. Just a small introduction about Denovo. Denovo is headquartered in Louisville, Colorado. Since we have been as a managed services partner with Oracle, we have about 175 professionals, mainly supporting Oracle ERP products. We are a great partner with Oracle, supporting hybrid cloud services and OCA projects, Oracle JDE Enterprise One, and Oracle eBusiness Suite applications. Also Oracle Cloud applications. We have about 150 plus customers, services for SaaS, infrastructure as a service, and platform as a service, development and functional support, updates, upgrades, and end user services, and all the customer needs for supporting these ERP products. We have about 2,500 Oracle solution projects completed, about 2,000 JDE projects, 500 EBS projects, and 125 Oracle Cloud application projects. We support many industries like public sector, construction, engineering, manufacturing, real estate, banks, financials, nonprofit, and whatnot. So we are glad to inform you that we also recognized in Gartner's Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Market Guide as a leading service provider for these applications. Okay, without further ado, we can get into the topic. Introduction to the natural language query. I know natural language query is being widely used now in the recent days. You may be using for your day-to-day needs, like either you want a question about your support system, or a question about database, or question about anything you want. You interact with the chatbot, or chat GPT or Copilot, whatever you do. So you started using this natural language query. So it's not like unfamiliar to you. It's very familiar to you. So the natural language query means just asking a question in a natural language, like in a plain English, like where do I go from here? where is this city located? So just like a simple question that you ask. So the similar concept applies to the database. I know database is stored in tables and columns and maybe in different data type formats. And when you ask a simple question, the database may not understand it, right? I mean, that's why we use a query language, SQL query language, to query the data that you need. So you need experts to write a SQL statement. This particular topic that we are going to talk about is going to help for the users that who doesn't even have any background in the SQL language, query language, or anything that they need to interact with the database. So they're just going to ask a plain English, plain English, like for example, how many invoices should I have to pay, or it lists me all the employees who are getting paid over $5,000 or something. A simple question that you ask into your business data, and then that business data will be converted into a query language, and then you get the results back. I know EBS has been there for a very, very long time, and you have been seeing all the EBS upgrades. Every year you get the latest and greatest updates from Oracle. So every upgrade, every release that they make every year, you get a lot of features as well. So one of the greatest feature that they introduced recently is you can use your natural query language with your e-business suite data. I mean, there are a couple of setups that you need to do, and then you should be able to modernize your e-business suite application with this great feature. So let's go through the architecture overview. So initially, the user will be asking a question, and the question will be parsed into a semantic understanding. That means the question, may have like a spelling mistake, or may have like a grammatical mistake, and everything, it'll ignore everything, and then it'll convert that statement into a semantic understanding, like what the user is really trying to ask for, right? So that understanding will be converted into a converted to a SQL generation engine, and then it will be converted as a SQL query, and then that SQL query will be getting executed on the e-business suite data, and then that will send the results back to you on the screen. So that can be a visualized screen format that will display the results. So it's just basically just a simple, when you see this, it's a simple thing, right? You ask a question in a natural language, and then that will get converted into a SQL language, and then database will easily understand the SQL language, get the results back, and then you see the results after that. So the key components are listed in the bottom. So natural language parses and interprets the user input, and then it will, based on the domain knowledge that it gathers, it will recognize as an entity. Based on the question that you ask, it will convert them into a relevant data fields and everything, and then that will be converted as a SQL language, and then it get executed, and then you get the response back from the engine. So this is how the entire flow is going to flow through in the presentation. Also, you have like each and every boxes will be converted into a module, and then we are going to go through the complete setup, how we are going to make this work. So that's the basic concept. And how are we going to do with the EBS? I know EBS is really tied up with a lot of security and everything. Even for implementing a single sign-on, you have to go through a lot of stuff in the past. But now Identity Cloud Services made it very simple. Similar way, there are a lot of applications that can be interacted with the EBS. For example, in the past, you would have done OBAE implementation along with EBS. Similar to that, there are a lot of other modules like Enterprise Command Center was introduced, and before Enterprise Command Center, it was Entaka that was introduced with EBS. So you have a single sign-on, and you see all the modules are integrated into EBS. So similar technology is going to be followed in here. So the basic thing is we need a couple of additional modules to implement this feature. One is Oracle introduced Apex a long time back, which is Application Express, was there many decades, and people were developing independent applications and based on directly interacting with the database. That same Apex is getting into using Apex. Now, with the recent version, Oracle the integration between EBS and Apex. So that's what we are going to use here. And then with Apex, we are going to also integrate the OCI generative engine, which is available on the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure for generating the SQL statements. So with these two components, we can easily convert the natural language query into a SQL query. And then, rest of the stuff will be easy. You just have to, ask the same question through the SQL statements to eBusiness Suite, get the results back, and present them into the screen. One other component which you already might have integrated with your EBS is Enterprise Command Center. So we primarily use Enterprise Command Center to show the results in a graphical or maybe in a tabular format. So we will also leverage Enterprise Command Center along with these products. So simply if we are asking, this is the EBS screen. So the user asks the question on the right. If you see here, the user asks the question, like show the details of the work orders released in the last 2 weeks, which are delayed. And you see the results coming back here, right? So behind the scene, there are some steps happening. One is the user asks the question in English via Apex UI. This is the Apex UI, and this is the ECC output that's getting introduced. So then the questions are converted into SQL and executed into eBusiness Suite database. So there are some examples that I provide. So you can ask anything relevant to the domain knowledge, domain that you have in the eBusiness Suite. So each and every domain can be separated, and you can ask specific questions to the domain so that the results will be presented for that particular domain. So let's go into details. So the same screen here, the user conversation, every time when somebody asks a question, it gets reset so that it's preparing the backend for the next set of questions that you're going to ask. And then you can also select the domain, which domain the question is particular to. For example, when you ask a question in ChatGPT, you may mention something like specific to your knowledge. For example, you can just ask a simple question like, give me play a song, right? In ChatGPT that can, but if you give some kind of domain knowledge, like for example, play a sleepy song or play a fun song or whatever, when you specifically give the specifications to the AI, it will give you relevant results. I mean, this is the same thing we're trying to do here. We are giving a domain knowledge so that when the question is asked, it is particular to the domain. So that's why we have a domain here. We can, create multiple domains here, and then you can say this question is related to this particular domain, so that the results will be, given in a better way and a precise way, so that you don't get, mixed results for your expectation. And another great feature is you can show the SQL statement. Like, for example, when you ask a question, you can also, see the exact SQL statement that is getting executed, which is another great feature. I like it because for the developers, they can create their own, interpretation out of this, and get the results selected from anywhere they want. So this is another feature which is really helpful to see the exact SQL statements that is getting generated. So this way you can see the entire flow, how this is being how your question has been transferred into the exact SQL statement that you're looking for. Let's go through detail in the architecture way. So these are the main components. As you see, EBS, you log into the EBS through SSO or even maybe your regular authentication. And then you go to your responsibility, like similar to the other components that you already know that's been integrated, like OBAE or any Entaka or ECC. There will be a separate responsibility given for the Apex. You go to the Apex and ask your question. So that natural language question will be transferred to the ADB, autonomous database on OCI, that has specific AI profiles, and also there is an LLM inbuilt. So your question is parsed through that DBMS Cloud AI package to convert your natural language question, and the OCI generative engine understands the question, and then that helps to transfer your question into the SQL statements. So as you see, so ADB is here, and also you have the EBS schema metadata. So this metadata helps to convert this question into a SQL statement. So don't worry, this metadata is just it's not a data, it's just a metadata to understand, to help the natural language query to convert into SQL statement. So you may have a relevant metadata. For example, if you have multiple domains that you want to use this technology, you create the metadata for that particular domain, and then so that you get the relevant results, and also you get the relevant SQL statements getting converted based on the particular domain. So this is how the ADB prompt to the OCI generate engine, and then A returns the SQL statement executed on the EBS DB. So as you see the flow, number one, you log in. Number two, it's getting converted into, the ADB process that, and then number three, the generative AI engine understands your question and help that question converted into SQL statement. EBS schema metadata is being used for that conversion of SQL statements, and then the question is sent back to EBS DB, and then you get the query results back and then display it on the EBS UI. Mainly, when you use the eBusiness Suite database, you must be wondering, how the security is involved. So the AI can ask any question, right? But everything has to go through your security policies that you already in place. For example, if you have like a private data, or if you have like a non-displayable data, everything will be controlled in your eBusiness Suite database using VPD, the virtual private database policy control, so that your sensitive data is completely protected. So it's not like somebody can get all the answers. So everything is controlled in your eBusiness Suite database control policy that you put in place. So that way your data is completely protected, and no one can get unwanted information from the database. Okay. So as I told you, Oracle Apex is being used as a front end. Mainly, if we have not gone through any of the Apex integration before, just go through some of the Apex integration methods. You can either use FND user authentication or maybe use SSO. SSO is becoming even, you can take a look at the SSO is completely, Oracle made SSO completely, very flexible and easy to use now. You don't need a complex architecture like before. IDCS made the SSO integration, much, much better with EBS. So it's going to be very, very easy for you to implement SSO. And then Apex, once you set up the Apex, it sends the query to the ADB via DBMS Cloud API package. That's going to be a huge part of the conversion in the converting into the SQL statements. And you may have to implement Oracle Autonomous Database. This is mainly used to generate the AI prompt and using the profile matches, and then you have your metadata which is installed on the Oracle Autonomous Database. So that will help you to interpret your results into the SQL statements. And you have a LLM already in place in the Autonomous Database. So that LLM really helps to improve the accuracy of your results. So you can install the latest LLM, which is completely independent of the integration. The LLM is handled separately within your Oracle Autonomous Database. So you can, if you need more accurate results, because LLMs are getting tuned all the time. So if you need more accurate results, you can keep updating your LLMs to generate a better result and better output for you. And one other component is our OCI generative AI engine, which you need to subscribe from Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. I mean, this is why these Oracle Cloud Infrastructure comes into the picture, because the generative AI engine is only available on that OCI. So that helps the query getting converted into the SQL statements. So the LLM constructs the SQL-based profile metadata. Apex verifies the SQL syntax using that DBMS packages, and then the SQL runs on XX NLQ schema on the eBusiness Suite database and sends the result to the real data. And then your VPD filters unauthorized data or anything that you don't want to see. And then the results are, finally getting back to the UI, and then you present the results in a better way. The security is very, very important, as everybody is concerned about the security and sensitive data protection. So this kind of architecture really helps to pin down your data based on the query that's been sent to you. So as long as you have very good policy, role-based policy in control, you should be able to protect all your data and not to be sent to the user query. So you can interpret those results into anything you want, but just let you know the security is in place and you can make use of this. This generation is completely different from execution because when the generation happens, it is on the ADB. So ADB just have metadata. It doesn't have any data. And then once it comes to the EBS database, you send the results back. At that time, you control all your data based on your VPT and role-based access control. That way, you send the results only relevant to that particular user. And you have the audit logging. That's another thing which already provide, that you can have all the SQL statement tracked so that you can go and verify back and make sure your implementation is working properly and make sure you don't. And based on that, you can fine tune your VPD policies and over and over and get the proper security in place. Okay, let's. These are all the concepts that we discussed. Let's go and go in action and try to implement. What are the step by step you need to implement this? So the prerequisites. One is you need to have OCI generative AI subscription and ADB 19C and above. So the subscription is not available in all the regions. I believe they are coming up with all the regions, but when I checked some time back, it was only available on the Chicago region. So you just have to subscribe that region into your OCI cloud infrastructure, and that has the OCI generative AI engine already. And then you need a ADB license, so you need to install ADB. On the EBS side, you have, to see the results in a better way, the ECC should be implemented before then. If you don't know what is Executive Command Center, is a great feature actually. A lot of my customers are started using this. Even if you don't implement this natural language query, the ECC helps you. Executive Command Center helps you in much way to present the EBS data in various forms. For the higher level management, whom they don't even understand how to query the EBS database. The Executive Command Center really helps in all the domains. And every year when Oracle releases an update, the Executive Command Centers are getting updated. The dashboards are getting overwhelmed with a lot of new dashboards, so that you can easily make use of is once you implement this Executive Command Center. So the same concept we will be using here to send the results back to the user in a better way. That can be a graphical or even tabular or whatever format you prefer. You can send the results back to the user. When you install ADB, you configure the ADB with the new schema called XX Natural Language Query Utility, NLQ util, and ADB comes with REST services inbuilt, so you just enable REST for that particular schema, and then you configure the OCI generative AI engine from that region that I told you. And then you update your OCI generative model. I use Llama LLM model here. So you can keep updating with the latest version of OCI generative model. And they install the metadata, which is I told you that EBS metadata will be installed. If once the installation is done, you can revoke all the grants, because that you don't need to give the grants to the other one. Like for example, the super user grant that you might have given to install it, you can revoke them. And you create OAuth client, which is really, that's the interaction between Apex and ADB. And you come to, I don't think I skipped a slide. Hold on 1 second. Yeah. You configure the Oracle E-Business Suite. As I told you, just apply required prerequisite patches for ECC implementation and Apex implementation. and you set up the Oracle Enterprise Command Center. As I told you, the command center looks like this in the right side. So you have the graphical representation of the data. You can drill down your data on each column. When you drill down, it goes to the detailed information, and also you can go to the finer detail. Even you can, for example, if you want to see all the invoices, you can. It'll even take you to the invoice screen, the Java-based screen from here. So it gives the complete picture of your data in a better visual way, so people can easily get all the results that they need. For example, here, nowhere you can see all this information in one place except on the ECC. So it gives you all the information here in one screen, right? The beauty is when you drill down, it'll go to the detail level and you show the exact data that took the data from. So you can drill down to the finest level. And one new schema that's been introduced, which is called XXNLQ schema. This is like another custom schema that you need to implement. You need to register it as a DBA, apps DBA. What does registering custom schema mean? So you just register that custom schema with Oracle E-Business Suite, and you upload the database artifacts for that schema, so that it has all the data that it needs to understand this natural language query. Okay, then once the basic e-business suite is set up, now we deploy Apex development platform. There is another schema called XX Apex. If you have already implemented Apex, you know what is this custom schema mean. So that's the custom schema for Apex integration. Now we create a workspace called EBS NLQ Apex on the Apex. So this is primarily used for this particular integration. Now we install the e-business suite natural language query Apex application. So there are predefined SQLs available. So you just use them to install it. And then ACL is definitely needed. As you know, ACL is one of the things that controls your access through the database level. So implement ACL, and the database wallet is needed for ADB. And then you configure the wallet in Apex workspace. Then OAuth client is important. So that gives the connectivity to the Oracle Autonomous Database. So configure that. That's the next step. And then update the Oracle E-Business Suite natural language query settings, an ADB REST base URL to autonomous URL, which is so that the autonomous REST URL is defined so that it can communicate between autonomous database and Apex. Now there is a content security policy. So you update that with the e-business suite hostname on that. Now you might have already implemented Apex, but if not, this is the Apex integration. So there is a new profile called FND Apex URL. So that URL will be updated based on your the Apex URL. So once you have this, you may see the new responsibility created under each domain. So for example, if you see here, the Apex URL is already implemented here. So it's Ask Oracle E-Business Suite. So when you click on it, you see the form that I showed you on the other screen. Then you can define these in a function. If you are familiar with application responsibilities, and this needs to be done so that you can display this menu screen here. So you complete all these steps and you verify the permission. So for each user, I think we have to, based on the roles and everything, you just define the permission and permission sets and define roles and grants and assign roles to the user based on the domain access, so that when somebody logs in, they have access to that particular domain to ask the question, so the results will be returned in a proper way. So for example, here the user one, the role one, the domain can be just to manufacturing. The other domain, other person can have like financial, recruitment, and even more domains for him. So you can filter the domain based on the user needs. For example, if he's a CEO, he can see everything. But if he's somewhere lower rank, we can give that particular domain for him to see the data. So now set up the profile option. This is specifically for HRMS data. If you are dealing with HRMS data, you may have to do all these HRMS related one. As I told you, when you integrate ECC, you know what it means. You have to schedule the concurrent programs to populate the data for ECC need, so that it can give you the summarized data or graphical representation of the data in a better way. So all these can be done as part of the ECC implementation. Similar to that, HR has different unique profile setting options because HR data is more secure. So you may have to do this for HR related data. So based on all this information, I think you should have an idea how to set up this, right? Once you run through all the complete configuration, you will be ready to go, and you can see the responsibility in Oracle E-Business Suite and click on the natural language query. As long as you have all the integration between Apex and autonomous database and to OCA generative engine, all these done on the back end, you should be able to seamlessly get the results back from Apex and the query getting converted into SQL statement and sends the results back. All these things will happen automatically behind the scene. You can even test with the DBMS Cloud AI package just independently without even involving Apex screen. That way you can validate all your data, whether the data is processed properly. Some of the majority of issues will be created by the ACL access. So make sure that you have network connection between EBS DB and autonomous database, and the ACL issues are corrected. Sometimes you may even have wallet issues. So you may have to troubleshoot the wallet issues if you have. And also ensure the AI model. For example, the Llama model is up to date, because you may have a latest model, so you can make it upload the up-to-date Llama model. Finally, once it's implemented and you ask the question, this is the responsibility shows here. Once you come here, you can just say ask the question. The screen will be displayed and show me all the work orders. And you have selected the discrete manufacturing domain here, and it shows all the work orders, right? You can even see the SQL statement, what SQL statement has been executed, right? So that's how the screen shows. And this is based on any domain that you want. So with a given responsibility and privileges, the user can see many of their responsibilities here, and then each one will have this particular link like Ask eBusiness Suite under that particular domain responsibility. So it's it's a simplified querying. Just to give a conclusion, we have Oracle EBS and ECC, which is already integrated with EBS. Now we are putting Apex on the top. So once all these are integrated, these can be independently implemented. And then we involve ADB and OCA generative engine, and we perform the natural language query. Then just let you know that it is very secure, and the architecture is defined in a way that it has the minimal data exposure based on your VPD policies. And people can view the results based on the simple language, natural language query. I have listed some references. These are great documentation for your step-by-step process, how to implement it. So this gives you like the overall picture, like step-by-step process on how to implement it. And you can, if you haven't done already Apex, this can be done independent also. So you can implement your Apex. You can also refer some other customization here. If you haven't done ECC in the past, and this gives you the latest document, this gives you the latest version of Executive Command Center. This document, this is a live document. They keep updating the newer release whenever the EBS, eBusiness Suite is updated. The ECC version is also getting updated. So this is a live document. Getting updated with your current version. So you can refer to this document always. Okay, I hope I covered all the technical part in detail. Just we can, if you have any questions, you can post them all in the Q&A, or let me see if you have any questions.
You have quite a few questions in the Q&A.
How does it handle questions based on customizations like DFF attributes? That's a good question. Like, I mean, the customization, I don't think it will understand the customization because the metadata has been provided by Oracle, which is only defined on the ADB that's going to interpret your results. I will take this question back and try to answer it in a better way. But as far as I know, this metadata has to have this customizations also on the ADB so that it will understand your customizations inbuilt. Do you need to be Oracle Cloud for this work? What if you are in on-prem? I believe as long as you have the OCI connectivity, I think it should be able to work. But I haven't done that with the on-prem version. I will double check on that as well. Is this capability be extended to include agentic framework to execute tasks? Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure, Raj. Let me take this question and do some research and get back to you on this. I'm on 19C. What do you need to purchase to get ADB on OCI? So ADB is a complete separate service. Goel, I think you asked for, I'm on 19C, what do I need to purchase to get ADB on OCI? So if you have OCI access or OCI license, you can just install ADB. Go to the autonomous database section and install ADB. And you may bring your own, I think you can bring your own license, or you may have to purchase a ADB license there, and you can go from there. Would we use the same IDCS service that protects our ERP? Yes, yeah. The same IDCS is protected for all the application because it's for ERP. So it's as long as you use the same IDCS, the same security, everything honored in this approach as well. So SSO is completely. If we have SSO already implemented, then that same thing can be used. Greg, that's your question. Thank you. Feroz, see a lot of similarities between this course and the earlier course. What additional benefits does this course provide? So not to miss those. I'm not sure if they went through the step-by-step process. So if we haven't, I mean, that could be somebody else, but this is from Denovo, so I'm not sure. If you see the similar information, you can, it's like a second lesson for you, so you can take it from there. Our organization, anonymous. Our organization runs EBS on-prem. We have no experience with OCI. Any idea on the cost? What kind of subscription model we need to buy for this? So to get a cost in OCI, there is a OCI cost calculators available in Oracle site. So you just need to know, plug in the information like one ADB, 2 CPU, or one CPU, one OCPU process, how much it's going to cost. It's going to give you a clear picture on what's the cost is going to be. I believe OCI generative engine, you can also ask the question in the calculator. So that will give you a clear picture on how much it's going to cost. Srihari, why do we need ECC component? This query is being executed directly against EBS DB. Yeah, hey Sri, I think mainly the interpretation of the results was displayed in a tableau, right? So if we want to use graphical or any other user interpretation, you should be able to use that ECC. But if you have Apex screen or something already integrated, you should be able to use the same thing. But ECC will really help on the presentation layer. Helen, is Apex included in EBS or need a separate subscription? So Apex is completely free. You can check with Oracle again. It can tie up into the database already as a small module. So that's why the XX Apex schema, when you implement that, Apex will be already integrated with EBS. So that comes with a database as a database part, Apex. But now when we customize it, we are creating a custom schema for XX Apex, so we can customize that particular Apex module to make use of the NLQ process into EBS. I hope that answers your question. Can you enable natural language query without using ECC? I believe you can so, because Apex, as long as the Apex results is sufficient for you, the Apex screen and Apex results are sufficient for you, you should be able to use that, because there is no direct relationship between ECC and NLQ. It's completely independent format. ECC helps you to display the results. Already there is a combined results available in, the sorted results already available in ECC. So you should be able to use the data. But as long as you have the Apex, a form of displaying the results in a better way in Apex, we should be able to use that as well. Can we add to metadata? Jay, can we add to the metadata to let it recognize DFF and custom tables and such? I'm not sure how flexible the metadata changes. I haven't done that. But similar to the other question, I will take this also and get back to you. will this work with ECC version 9 as well? When I believe this is based on, I think you have a when you implement Apex, I think you already implement 12, I think. That's the base release. So I think ECC would work. The version upgrade that ECC makes is that produce more dashboards and everything for you to use. So you should be able to use the same ECC. Mukesh, look like ECC itself has pre-built queries. So how this is going to enhance the ECC, Mukesh, the ECC pre-built or like, you cannot ask a natural language question in ECC. You just have to use the predefined dashboards and click here, click there, and that shows the results. But when somebody want to ask some questions, similar to I showed you, those questions need to be semantically interpreted as a query language. That's why we have this NLQ in place. But if ECC itself is enough for you, that should be sufficient. So ECC can be used, Shri again, so ECC can be used for functionality more than predefined dashboards. Yeah, it can be used, yeah. And Amit, does EBS have inbuilt SSO for Apex now? In the past, I have been third-party products enabled SSO, otherwise Apex needed a separate login. So when you integrate Apex, the EBS SSO will take part. Now, we have implemented for many people with a third-party application, but everybody now converted into Oracle Identity Cloud Services, which is a beautiful product, which is a very simple product, which is implemented on OCI. As long as you have a OCI subscript for Oracle Identity Cloud Service, SSO can be seamlessly implemented for EBS and Apex, because Apex honors the EBS SSO implementation, so you should be able to use the same thing. Bala, you said I missed your question about natural language query. Will it work on from EBS? So the natural language query needs OCI implementation. As long as I need to make a test dry run on this with your question, Bala. I'll try to come up with an answer. But as long as you have access to the OCI and the REST services from Apex, you should be able to implement with your on-prem. But you need to have OCI for the generative engine is only available on OCI. So you need to have that on OCI. Okay, any other questions?
I think there's another one that just popped into the chat.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you all for your time. And if you have any questions, so I want to thank the sponsors, Config Snapshot, Denovo, Splash BI, Syntax, Vertex. These are the sponsors this week. A special thanks to them. Thank you, Jamie, for your time. It was great.
Thank you so much. We really, again, appreciate the sponsorship and the partnership we have with you, and the great webinar you presented today. I know that our attendees appreciated it. You can see that from the comments. To our attendees, thank you for being here this week, and we look forward to another great day tomorrow. That will conclude today's webinar.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. Have a great evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.